Chosen one, there is a secret about your existence that ancient forces tried to hide from you. Something that could not be spoken. Something that should never have been discovered. But the time has come, and there is no longer any way to deny the truth. From the moment you took your first breath in this world, your name was inscribed on a plane few can perceive, marked by something that neither celestial beings nor shadow entities can fully comprehend. You were not supposed to be here, or at least, you were not supposed to remain. There was an order, an immutable decree, for someone to silence you before you awakened to what you truly are. A fallen angel, shaped by chaos and obedient to darkness, was given the mission to erase you from existence without hesitation. He had done it before, countless times, and never failed. But when it was your turn, something happened. For the first time in all eternity, his blade did not fall. Something within him trembled. Something even he cannot explain. He should have eliminated you the moment he found you. That was what the darkness commanded. But before you, his shattered essence, his immutable curse, and his soul that never knew hesitation, failed. He did not understand why. He felt hatred. He felt anger toward himself, toward his inexplicable weakness, because never before, in all his existence of destruction, had he experienced the burden of a decision he could not make. Now, that failure has become an open wound he cannot ignore. Your name, Chosen One, should mean nothing to him, but it has become an obsession, and those touched by the obsession of a fallen angel never escape unscathed. Something within him broke the moment your eyes met his. A mistake he cannot accept. He has tried to justify it. He has tried to convince himself that he simply missed the right moment, that it was a fleeting distraction, an insignificant error. But the truth is that something within him has been writhing since that night. Your existence challenges him in a way he cannot comprehend, and every passing moment, without answers, sinks him deeper into a silent madness. You feel it, don't you? The weight of his presence around you. The sensation of being watched, of something hiding in the veils of the world around you. When you sleep, when you walk alone, when you lose yourself in your thoughts, something accompanies you, even if you cannot see it. It is not paranoia. It is not your imagination. He is there. He never left. The fallen angel should not feel anything. He should not hesitate. His essence was forged in the abyss of the fall, where mercy is an illusion, and the fate of the chosen is sealed without question. But as he approached you that night, something within him fractured. He realized, as he raised his blade, that he was not facing an ordinary soul. There was something different, something that transcended the barriers separating mortals from the creatures of the heights and the depths. Your heart beat like any other. Your eyes carried the weight of existence like any human's. And yet, you emanated a presence that disarmed him. He felt your pulse through the veils of time, and for a single, terrible moment, the shadow of doubt passed through him like a cutting wind. That moment was enough to break him. The blade remained suspended in the air, unable to complete the cycle that had repeated so many times before. Since then, something within him has been slowly rotting. He returned to the realms of darkness without answers, but the answers began to pursue him. The voice of those who rule him echoed in his mind, cold as a final sentence. No one has ever failed. But he failed. He tried to suffocate the mistake, drowning himself in the carnage of other souls to forget his momentary weakness. But the name that should have been erased remained burning within him. Your name. An invisible mark on his mind, a torment he cannot escape. All he knows is that he must return. He must see you again. He must understand what happened that night, must discover what cursed power you carry that made him lose the one thing he should never have lost, his absolute obedience. So, he begins to follow you. At first, from a distance, a shadow in the corner of your vision, a suffocating presence in places where you should be alone. You feel that something is wrong, but you cannot name it. Nightmares begin to invade your nights. Dreams where a black silhouette looms over you, but never touches you. The world around you grows heavier, as if you are walking on a field where an invisible war still echoes. And then he draws closer. Perhaps it is a stranger who crosses your path and holds your gaze for too long. Perhaps it is a whisper in the crowd that carries your name without anyone having spoken. Or perhaps it is the chill that runs down your spine when there is no wind, the sudden cold on a hot day. He is getting closer. He needs to look into your eyes again. He tries to rationalize this obsession. He tells himself that he is merely studying his prey, that he needs to understand the failure before trying again. But somewhere within him, a certainty begins to grow like a slow poison. He did not fail because you are stronger. He did not fail because he was careless. He failed because something within him bent before you, because something within him recognized your existence in a way he cannot explain. He never knew what it was to hesitate, but now, hesitation is all that defines him. He no longer knows if he wants to kill you or if he wants to find, in you, the answer to the void consuming him. And this doubt haunts him, because to be a servant of chaos is to have no doubts. To serve the darkness is to accept orders without question. But you did something no one else ever did. You made him question. Now, his obsession intensifies. He draws closer, crossing the invisible line between predator and the shadow that never leaves. He does not want to be seen, but he wants you to feel him. He wants you to know that something is stalking you, something that cannot be ignored. Every encounter with you burns deeper, like a fire that should not exist within him. He should desire your destruction. But more and more, he desires to understand. And that is something he should never feel. Because fallen angels do not seek answers. They do not seek truths, but you are breaking all the rules he knew, and now he is trapped in this cycle. He wonders if he was cursed for hesitating, or blessed for finally seeing something that had been hidden from him for all eternity. Each day, the obsession grows, suffocating him like invisible chains. He cannot kill you, but he also cannot abandon you. The failure that haunts him has become an open wound, and the only way to heal it is to discover what you truly are. The answer must be somewhere, hidden in your essence, concealed in your soul. He watches your steps, your words, your silences. He analyzes every detail, trying to find what makes you different from the others he has eliminated before. But the more he looks, the less he understands. You should not have escaped, and yet you did. You should not be special. But there is something in you that challenges him in a way he cannot ignore. He has tried everything to suffocate this fissure within him. He has drowned himself in battles, slaughtered countless souls to try to forget the hesitation he felt beside you. But nothing silences the chaos within him. Your name echoes in his mind like an impossible sound to erase. He tries to convince himself that he is still the same, a relentless servant of ruin, an instrument of darkness. But the truth has already infiltrated him like a silent plague. He no longer knows who he is. He feels that something within him has changed, and it enrages him. You are the source of this imbalance, and for that, he must continue. You are the only flaw in his perfect existence, and that flaw must be understood. The pursuit has become an endless cycle, a game neither of you fully understands. You feel his presence drawing closer, but he never attacks, never completes what should have been inevitable. He appears in the corners of your vision, in reflections that vanish, the moment you try to see them. He is testing you, waiting for something to happen. But even he does not know what he is looking for. What was once a simple execution has become a labyrinth, a dilemma with no solution. The mission that was once an absolute order is now a curse that keeps him trapped, unable to move forward or return to what he was before. All that remains is this suffocating uncertainty, this abyss growing within him, dragging him deeper into the ruin of something he cannot even name. Perhaps, deep down, he already knows the truth he fears to admit. The flaw is not in you, but in him. You did not cast a curse upon him, did not enchant him. did not alter his destiny. What happened was far worse. You made him see. For the first time, he saw beyond the orders he had always followed without question, and realized that his existence had always been a prison. You were supposed to be just an obstacle, a name to be erased. But you became the crack that destroyed everything that sustained his certainty. He should destroy you to regain his balance. But now he realizes that perhaps he does not want to be saved from the chaos you brought. If he cannot fulfill his mission, then what is left for him? To continue pretending he still belongs to the darkness, or to accept that perhaps he was never their servant, only their prisoner? Time has become a crushing weight, and every moment, without answers, poisons him further. He feels the invisible eyes of those who were once his allies watching him, waiting for the moment they can tear him from his indecision by force. He should hide, remain concealed, but something within him desires to be seen. The laws that once shaped him are breaking, and he realizes he is no longer hunting, but standing on the edge of a precipice. The moment the last barrier falls is near, and the truth he has tried to deny for so long is about to be revealed. When that happens, there will be no turning back, and all that remains to be seen is whether he will resist what comes next, or finally surrender to the unknown. The obsession has ceased to be a dilemma and has become an inevitable burden, weighing on every step he takes. Resisting no longer makes sense, because every attempt to fulfill the order echoing within him has failed before it even began. You are no longer just a name on a list, a target to be erased, but an enigma he cannot decipher. Your presence, once an irritating anomaly, has become an anchor, a crack spreading within him. He should hate you, should wish for your existence to be erased, but instead, every encounter only sinks him deeper into this abyss of doubt and fascination. What was once unshakable certainty now dissolves, and the more he struggles to free himself from this torment, the more entangled he becomes. The threat of being hunted by those who once ruled him becomes real. He feels the invisible eyes of his former allies turning against him, recognizing the hesitation growing within his corrupted soul. Those who fail receive no mercy. If he does not fulfill the order given to him, he himself will become a target, for there is no forgiveness for those who hesitate. But something within him has already accepted that this may be the price to pay, because he no longer knows if he wants to return to what he was before. The impenetrable darkness that was once his home no longer feels like a refuge, and the more time passes without answers, the more lost he becomes in his own uncertainty. What was once a clear and absolute path has now shattered into 1,000 directions, and he realizes he is adrift. You feel it, even if you cannot name the unease settling in the air around you. Something has changed, something moves at the edges of your reality, and every shadow seems to hide a lurking secret. The signs are becoming impossible to ignore, the nightmares growing in intensity, the distorted reflections where there was once only the ordinary, the whispers that dissolve in the wind without ever having been spoken. He is closer than ever, increasingly unconcerned with remaining hidden, as if an invisible force is pulling him toward this inevitable encounter. You have never seen his face, never heard his voice, but your instinct screams that something is waiting to be revealed. And deep down, a part of you already knows this game is coming to an end. The pursuit cannot continue forever, and he feels it. The pressure grows within him, crushing, like a clock whose time is about to run out. He should attack you, should finish what he started, and finally free himself from this sentence that haunts him. But he knows he cannot. All his attempts to recover the thread of destiny that once guided him have failed. And now he is trapped between what was and what could be. You, who should have been just another victim, have become his ruin. He does not know if this is a tragedy or a redemption, but there is no turning back. What was once a hunt has now become a threshold he can no longer ignore, and the moment the last barrier breaks, the truth will be inevitable. Then, for the first time, he reveals himself, no longer as a shadow in the darkness, no longer as a silent presence haunting your existence without a face or a name. He is there, and the air around you seems to bend under the weight of this moment. you feel the shift in reality, as if everything is about to break. Whatever he was before no longer exists. He realizes it was not his hesitation that destroyed him, but the truth he was never ready to see. Now, what comes next no longer depends on him. It depends on you. And then, for the first time, he reveals himself, no longer as a shadow hidden among the darkness, no longer as a distant presence hovering without a face or name. He allows himself to be seen, allows the truth to materialize before you. The time to remain hidden is over, and all that he has been until now is reduced to this moment. You feel something displaced in the air, a silence that does not belong to the world of mortals, an invisible weight condensing around you. He is there. There are no more barriers between you, no more veils to hide what is about to happen. Now, the decision he has avoided from the beginning must be made, and that decision could change everything. The moment he both feared and desired with equal intensity has finally arrived. You stand before him, feeling the presence that, until now, was only a whisper among the shadows. Something in your body recognizes the energy emanating from him, as if the very fabric of reality twists around his existence. He does not move, but everything within him screams conflict. The fury of the unfinished mission clashes against the doubt that has destroyed him since the moment he found you. The echoes of his former obedience try to suffocate this moment, force him to act, force him to fulfill what he was created for. But he no longer fully belongs to the darkness that once shaped him. He no longer knows if that order can still be carried out. You should feel fear, but what spreads within you is something entirely different. There is a silent recognition pulsing deep within you, as if some forgotten part of your soul understands what is truly happening. You don't know why, but you realize that this encounter was always inevitable. The revelation builds between you without a single word needing to be spoken. A collision of two destinies intersecting at a point neither side expected. He looks at you as if searching for an answer, as if trying to find a reason to deliver the final blow. But something stops him. Something holds him there, as if an invisible thread is being pulled, drawing his existence closer to yours. The weight of the decision destroys him from within. He knows that if he does not act now, he may never be able to fulfill his mission. But at the same time, he knows that if he takes that step, he will be destroying the only truth he has seen in countless ages. If killing you is the path to reclaiming what he lost, then why does everything within him reject that idea? The blade that has ended so many does not move, does not obey, as if it is waiting for something yet to be revealed. The silence becomes unbearable. He expected a battle, expected you to fight, to flee, to force him down the easier path. But you do none of that. You simply stare at him, and that single act dismantles him more than any blade ever could. Time seems to distort around the prolonged moment. He remembers everything that has happened up to this point, every step that brought him here, every failed attempt to tear you from his mind, every time he tried to convince himself that this was just another mission, but it is not. It never was. Destiny does not err, and he begins to understand that perhaps this order was never about eliminating you. Perhaps, from the beginning, this mission was about him, about what needed to be broken within him so that he could see beyond the invisible prison that kept him blind for so long. And if, in the end, it is not you who needs to be destroyed, but rather what he always believed himself to be, the realization strikes him like a blade, piercing his essence. He feels the exact moment his identity shatters completely, the precise instant when there is no turning back. No matter what happens now, he will never be the same. His choice has already been made, even if he has not yet spoken it. Whatever he was before this moment no longer exists. But if his existence was shaped by chaos and destruction, then what will he be now? What happens when a fallen angel abandons the darkness that always defined him? He does not know the answer, but for the first time, he is not afraid to discover it. The air around you seems to vibrate with something invisible, as if time itself is holding its breath, waiting for the final decision. He still holds his blade, But now it is no longer a weapon, but a burden. The same blade that once brought destruction to countless souls now weighs like a sentence that cannot be carried out. His essence has shattered, and what once held him captive in the shadows was destroyed the moment he recognized the truth. The purpose that once guided him has become a meaningless illusion, a chain that can no longer hold him. He was not sent to kill you. He was sent to be transformed by you, so that he could finally see what had always been denied to him. The universe has always worked to bring this encounter to pass, and now he understands that. Destiny gave him no other option, did not allow him to follow the path he always knew, because he never truly belonged to the darkness that shaped him. For so long, he believed he was a servant of ruin, a shadow in service of destruction. But his hesitation was proof that something within him never accepted that truth. And now, standing before you, he sees himself for the first time as he truly is. A fragmented being, torn from the light and forced to walk among specters, but never fully consumed by the void. You, with your mere existence, made him remember what had always been buried within him. The forces that ruled him sense his rupture, and somewhere distant, the order for his elimination has already been given. The world that shaped him does not allow desertions, does not forgive those who dare to question their purpose. But he no longer cares, not anymore, because now he finally understands what it means to be free. The invisible chains that held him captive for so long dissolve one by one, and all that remains is the truth he tried to deny. He never had a choice, until now. You, the one who was supposed to be just a target, became the key to freeing him, and for that, he can no longer allow anyone to touch you. Those who once controlled him will not accept his decision, and he knows the pursuit is only beginning. But this time, it is not you who should fear. This time, he will not be the pursuer, but the protector. He has broken the cycle, abandoned the mission, turned his back on the shadows that once called him brother. But there is a price for freedom, and he is about to pay it. The chaos that once followed his orders will now turn against him, and everything he was forced to serve will try to reclaim him once more. The war that approaches will not be his alone, but yours as well. For the same ones who wanted your death now want his soul. But there is something different now, something that has never happened before. He is by your side. For the first time, he is not alone. For the first time, he fights not for an order, but for a choice. And so, the hunter becomes the protector, the enemy becomes the ally, and the pursuit that began as a sentence has now become a promise. He is no longer the fallen angel who came to destroy you. He is the one who will rise against the forces that shaped him, who will face the shadows that once possessed him. He does not know what his fate will be, does not know if he can be redeemed or if his existence was condemned long ago. But if there is one thing he is certain of, it is that he will never again let anyone touch you. What comes next is still uncertain, but one thing he already knows: no one will hunt you anymore, because now he is the one who hunts. The transformation was inevitable. From the moment destiny brought you face to face, the hunter became the protector, the mission turned into redemption, and what was once a death sentence became the awakening of something greater. But this story does not end here, because what was broken must be rebuilt, and the shadows that once controlled him will not accept his betrayal without a fight. If there is one certainty, it is that you were never just a target. You were always a crucial piece, a missing link that, once found, would change the balance of invisible forces forever. Now, a silent war approaches, and what happens next will depend on choices that have yet to be made. But remember, chosen one, this is not just a story. It is a mirror. How many times have forces tried to break you? How many times has darkness tried to extinguish your light, to convince you that you were not strong enough to continue? But you are here. You survived. You became what destiny always knew you would be. And perhaps, like this fallen angel, you too have doubted yourself, have felt the weight of carrying something you did not understand, have been pursued by something you could not name. But if there is one thing this story proves, it is that no one can stop the inevitable. What is destined to awaken, awakens. What is marked by eternity can never be erased. And you, chosen one, are a flame that not even the abyss can consume. If this message resonated within you, if every word made your spirit vibrate with something you always knew but could never explain, then the time has come to act. May your journey be illuminated, and may you never lose the courage to follow your instincts. Until the next video, and may the peace of God always be with you.